Hey.
Welcome everyone to the 161st weekly live stream. It's like a surprise every week. Woo!
Well, I never would have guessed it would happen, you know?
What? This thing exists?
Surprise, surprise, we are live at this time because time changes. They happen.
What is consistency and organization skills?
Definitely not me.
I blame the
If
planet.
you're not a purple pony, then how can you even organize at all?
So, today we got a hilarious group? No. Waffle? No. Gaggle. Yes, gaggle. There we go. A gaggle of people.
We're geese now.
We're geese. Honk.
Oh, no! So first up is Allie,
Hello.
followed by Pencil Case.
Hi.
And then there's a Fluffy's eye hanging around there.
Hello.
I think there's even a tadpole here.
Whoa, whoop, whoa, wow,
I
where? Whoa.
I love that we're a lion, a mouse, a raccoon, and a tadpole, and now we're all geese. There's some animal magic going on here.
Listen, some days you just have to cosplay.
A lot of biodiversity.
Well, now we all have to be ponies for a while.
Maze, I don't know where you found that, but awesome.
What did Maze find?
Go Maze. You know what? You rock. MVP today.
Oh, come on. They're amazing.
They are.
Oh,
Did
ho,
you
ho, ho,
screenshot
ho.
when I accidentally started streaming to MLP channel the other day?
That actually shows up as a
No,
splash
that's from
screen.
today. That's
today?
the thumbnail. Because
Mhm.
because it's the last thing.
Oh, so like the thumbnail it makes is the last thing that happened on the stream.
Yepers.
Ah, I didn't know how Pikachu does that.
Yeah, we had a surprise MLPDS stream for a few seconds.
They're taking over.
For like 2 minutes maybe.
All one viewer was so confused.
But people probably getting notifications like, "Oh, MLPDS is live! Wow!"
Well, mine was very confused.
Alright, so today we have a small handful of pictures. Remember, if you'd want... No, stream's not starting early. It's a time change, Plum.
They're not in chat with us.
No! Anyway, if you have any art you'd like
Ali
to
and
submit...
LD are time
Yeah.
travelers.
We just wanted to see what it was like, you know?
The US is talking about getting rid of it, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to put it on their election for Canada.
Oh,
Fine.
I have no
Oh, the
doubt.
EU was also talking about
Now, if
getting
only
rid
we
of the
can-
time
If only
changes.
we can do it too. That'd be really helpful.
Parts of the EU have done it, just not all of it.
Yeah, they were.
It's
I
so
think they were talking about
stupid
making
and so
It is.
EU
confusing.
wide.
And every continent needs to do it at different times, except for some states. And then like there's hemispheres get involved, and it's like a huge mess. It's
Well,
like, oh my god.
it all happened because back when farming
Farming,
was a thing and
yeah.
people wanted to be
Well,
awake when the
farming
light was
still
out.
is a thing.
And, yeah, but
I
they
carrots.
go up. They go up when the sun comes up, though. They don't look at no alarm clock. Like my friend can't understand why England has it. It's like, but you only have one time zone. It's like, it has nothing to do with it.
You're not part of the rest of the world.
The show I have on CR is so confusing every single time the time change because like UK and Europe and stuff and America does it at different times, and then later on Australia does it the other way around because they're the other hemisphere. So it's like everyone's really confused. It's just a mess. Anyway, I'm done stalling so that I can actually get your file to open now.
And to bring it back to this, our first picture up is by
I was trying to wait
Warren.
so that I can actually get into the draw pile. Sorry.
Oh, I see how it is.
It was
So-
a sneaky trick.
So the first picture is by 80 Warren, and it's Pinkie Pie is a fan of the Fuel Rats. Completed color and shaded version of the sketch earlier. Hope you enjoy. So sometime earlier this week they submitted a picture. That was a sketch. This is the finished one.
Oh,
So
Oh,
LD and
pink
I
doesn't
posed
work
a
on
question:
Pinkie Pie.
what is a fuel rat?
It's
I think it's some sort of franchise of something. I don't know.
Fuel
What's a
Rat.
limpets?
Those are those little dripper things.
What?
I know that. You mean like the little pump tap thingy that he's holding?
Yes. No, that's a pump. But a limpet is like no, that's a pipette.
A limpet is an
Yeah.
animal.
We're all
I know what a
clueless.
pipette is. I don't know any of the other things.
It's an animal, apparently.
What is this? Sorry, I had to
A
Google
limpet
fuel
is an
rats.
animal that clings onto things. I know because my sister used to have this joke where she would be like, I'm a limpet, and just cling onto my dad's leg for ages.
I do want to make a comment. This person, when they submitted the sketch earlier, they're like, I don't have money for commissions, so I drew it myself. And I'm like, bravo to you. Not many people just have that attitude. They just either complain about commission prices, but you went out and did it yourself, and we are proud of you for that.
I just got CPC to realize he was drawing on the layer.
I
'cause
might be
think
drawing on the drawing.
Oh no!
It's fine. It's fine. We'll just click onto a new layer and hope that nothing changes. Wait, are you drawing on another drawing somewhere?
No, she's just.
No, I'm
drew
drawing on the foreground. I thought
Because-
I didn't realize there was no layers.
I just added the layers. We're a great stream. We really
Great.
have our
We're
art together.
we're on the ball. Oh, good. I am recording. Okay.
See, that's exactly
Add
what
that to the pile.
So
That's what I would have checked. at that
So
point.
after a bit of Google foo, I have it. So the fuel rats are a guild inside of Elite Dangerous that goes and delivers fuel to people who are out of gas in the game.
That's
And
really, that's just like a player thing that they do. That's really cool.
and a limpet is like a fuel transfer.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's
We're
an elite
learning
thing.
today.
It's a space thing, but without the space.
Exactly. That's cool. That's so much more than I would have ever expected to learn today.
Look at that fuzzy belly. Fuzzy belly.
Alright. So they have no questions on this one, but they did, as Ali said, they did talk about no money for commissions on the other one.
Why am I drawing on the rat and CPC's drawing on the pony?
Yeah.
Diversify.
What are we
Don't-
doing?
The best way to improve is by doing things you don't know.
Yes, LD is totally right. That is exactly true.
And you have to learn to draw a bunch of mice because you're vending with her. So
Yeah,
this
I've
is
gotta-
this is the ad spot we're gonna give you right now. Let's hear your advertisement for you at Galacon.
Shameless plug. It's our
Come-
shameless plug.
Fluff,
Oh, no,
fluffening.
Yeah, come support the flufferning. Soon the whole world will be covered in fluff. It's going to start at Galacon, Ludwigsburg, Germany, July 2019, and it'll spread across the world.
Nice. Is every single surface of your stand going to be fluffy?
Oh my
Like
God, I hope
including
so.
the picture rats? Can it?
CPC, get the fur.
The eyeball.
Buy
We're
that
printing
fur.
Fluffy paper.
I already have lion-colored fur, but I need more colors.
CPC. No, we're not going to do prints. What we're going to do is we get like.
I
fur.
have
We
the
got
sticker
furry
machine,
paper.
and I have fur. We
the-
could make fluffy stickers.
Oh, no.
Our pictures are like fluff embroidery on like fluff paper.
Can you get fluffy prints? Like print onto
Yeah.
a fluffy material?
Well, couldn't you
Well,
get like
you
the velvet?
Can print on, yeah, you can print on Minky.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Possibility, it exists.
Spoonflower.
Well, now you know your banner.
Can I just say I like the background?
I think that's actually from the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
actually, it's just a
Yeah.
picture.
It's like really good job.
I
Okay.
do that as well. I take like a vector from the show. It's like, oh, this background is so much better than the rest of my drawing. Let's give some definition to this plot. I'm not sure which. So it's very front on, but it always feels a bit lacking when there's no depth to a box or something like that.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit 3D.
Totally. Easy thing. Just rotate a bit.
Yeah. And same for this fuel pump here. Even in the age of like traveling through space, you just have like just gasoline fuel pumps at like a petrol station, just like go in to buy like a pack of gum and ice cream.
Wait, you buy ice cream at a gas station?
Whenever we were going up on like a long car trip and like traveling like across the country, it would be like a huge day-long trip. We'd always like have points where we'd stop at like service stations or gas stations and get like just to like talk about the car, and then we'd always like have to go to the toilet, and then while we were in there, we would like look at the ice creams, and then parents would have to buy us one. That now it's just like cans of Monster and sandwiches and stuff.
Oh.
Whatever food we can get out of our parents. It's all good. I'm just thinking this pipe needs to have a little bit more like, it needs to be like hanging down a little bit more, like make the pipe. I gather these things probably have a sort of they're sort of like a weird construction and hold their shape a little bit, but they should at least have like a little bit of weight dragging down on them. I'm not very familiar with fuel pumps. I don't drive. But
I do, and I also don't know.
They're usually very stiff. Like they
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But
they also
like,
aren't long. But I've never refueled a spaceship.
What you what you have in the picture could work, just given the sort of what would we describe as viscosity of the pipe, but it also couldn't hurt to try doing something a bit of like weight to it like this. I don't know.
I feel dirty hearing it described as viscosity.
I don't know how else to describe like a pipe like holds its shape and just isn't like floppy. I don't know. I did English language in college.
So I've gone ahead and just doodled in the hair. I've basically pulled it back down, gave it some gravity. I know Pinkie Pie's hair is like this magical fluff of cotton candy that sort of holds its own. But if we give it some weight behind it and let it pull itself down a little bit while still maintaining some of the springiness shown in the fact that we've taken the end of her hair and whipped it back around the body. Because if she's throwing her head back, her mane's going to throw with that, and it's going to be on a curve, so it's going to be like one of those comical pictures where they're in the water and throwing up the hair and it's a big arc, that sort of movement. So the bottom part of her hair is going to whip forward while the top's whipping backwards. Whip it good.
Yeah. With the tail, I just like fluffed it a little bit. The lines, also, if you look at references of Pinkie Pie, they don't go across. They go down the length of the tail. So I just did that, and I also gave like some weight pressed onto the floor here. So if you, it's so hard to draw a straight line at this angle. It's not an angle that my hand wants to do. There we go. You got like the straight floor. The tail is sort of resting on that, but it's still got that sort of springiness to it. It's just like the weight of this little bit here is pressed down. But however you want to sort
I'm just darkening in what Q Pencil was
very nice.
doing.
I should do that with mine as well. I did the bean body for the mouse as well. The rat. Let's put a t-shirt in, and then you can have like.
Yes.
You can hear.
Oh, okay. So my internet unbroke itself.
Yay!
You were very quiet.
Hooray.
We missed you.
I wasn't quiet, I was talking, just no one was answering me.
Yeah, you were quiet to us, but then you're always a quiet little mouse. Have that fluffy belly. There we go. You wanna? I was
Cool.
sort of thrown off a little bit by the neck here, so I was trying to sort of make that look a little bit nicer as it transitions into the shoulders. There we go. I think that's so you can figure out. Yeah.
Nah, someone hit a layer.
Oh, you can see when other people hide the layers. I thought only you could see that. just
Good
you
God,
know.
man. All right.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to the next one then?
Yes. Let's
Okay.
do that.
Let's move down then. Twilight.
Down.
There we go.
Move down, move
That's
down,
the
move
way
down.
that gravity says we should go.
So this one is by Edgy Horse, and it's Here's My Twilight. Been so long since I've drawn.
This is pretty cool.
So the first thing I notice about it is I think she might have been spending a little too much time back in like the bad boy region because she looks stoned.
Does she look stoned?
She looks stoned. She's got the 1,000-mile stare.
I think she kind of just needs a quick case of the eye highlight.
Yeah.
There we go.
The eyes always look a bit empty when you don't have that.
Oh, that was a bad spot to put it. There. I don't know.
5 months. Yeah, you should draw more,
You-
dude.
Do, uh, I don't know. What I would say is real quick with the composition of the piece, the framing. Let's get a good color here. Oh, geez. Right here. Oh. Here and here and here. You kind of want to avoid encroaching on the frame so much. So what I'd recommend is either moving her closer to the camera so that, you know, the frame intersects these points, or moving her further away so that there's more breathing space between these pinch points between the frame and her, just so that it's it just gives a little bit more, I don't know, breathing.
There's also a lot of gap like around her that doesn't really seem like it's being used for much. Like if you intended to have like a big like landscape sort of perspective here, then it would be best to actually show something in the background. If it's just going to be a lot of sort of abstract color, then there's not really too much point in having this extra space, and you might as well crop it to have the focus more on Twilight.
Also, just be fun to explore more in this background region about what is
Yeah.
actually going on here.
It's like she's just like flying through a void, really, and it doesn't really feel like.
And I mean, if she
doing
is
anything.
flying through a void, then
Yeah, if that is what you're doing.
just make it look
good
like
job.
she's flying through a void.
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever kind of void, maybe stars.
That would be interesting, yeah.
I'm gonna be back in a moment. It looks like something exploded at work, so I'm just gonna make a quick phone call.
Sure thing, go for it.
We'll be here in Ponyland.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with what everyone's saying.
Ah, my colors became pink.
Maybe
You had a
like-
point there? Sounded like there was going to be more to that sentence.
I thought there was two, and then I lost the words.
She meant to have like kind of a sleepy-eyed expression.
I kind of
I'm not sure what expression they're going for out here. Actually, it's quite hard to tell.
to me, especially when we had the eye highlights added, it turned into like a vacant stare to more like a cocky look for some reason for me.
Yeah, small things like that can really change how it looks. Oh no, we hear Eddie.
Quick, distract.
We
So,
can't do anything. He has control over
Serpentine
this.
maneuvers.
Arch ponies fluff.
I will say, you have a really great strong silhouette, and I think you made that work well. The like how the wings blend into the body, I'm not too
Yeah, that's why.
put off by. Because like I said, you have a very strong silhouette, and by looking at it, I can tell what each part is.
Yeah.
So that you did really well.
Yeah, you can leave the wings how you've done them. I'm just drawing, just give other perspectives of what can be done.
Do we have a black and white filter adjustment layer
Nah,
type of thing?
we'd have to. I don't even know if you can do that to the background layer, honestly.
Hmm.
Oh, I like to.
Yeah, I know what
if
you're
we can't,
talking about.
then that's fine. But
It's
I'd
really
like
good to
to
look at the values of things. Yeah.
bring
Also,
attention
just-
to right there, and
I just noticed she doesn't have a normal eye color in this either. It's pink.
especially right here, because it's looking like those values are near
Yeah.
identical.
If you don't know what we're talking about,
Yeah, I
here,
can see that.
A very, very, very useful thing you can do with art is to check the values, and you want to have like if you can't have like a layer on top that makes everything grayscale, then you can like make a copy of everything temporarily, like duplicate everything to a new layer, and then just lower the colors to grayscale, just so then you can see the values. And what that means is you can see how, because color has a tone and it has a value, and the value is sort of how bright or dark it is. And so a lot of the time, it very, very much helps to make sure that those values are very different and very visible, drawing the eye where you want it to be, and then work out the colors. I'll do it a lot with background work, especially. Like I try to keep background tones quite similar to each other, but then draw the characters out as much as possible, as well as like outlining them. So it can help a lot with deciding what you're doing with the colors and everything. So having like a little mountain range with sunset, if that's what CPC is doing there, that's already much nicer.
Yeah, I could see that maybe there were mountains. That this program doesn't like me using.
It doesn't like us doing
Opacity.
anything. Honestly, it's like you wanna make art. Are you crazy? The answer is yes.
So what I was doing is that you can use like vivid colors to make the mountains a bit more. It's like choose something that isn't exactly like not purple, but it's like it doesn't need to be exact sunset colors. Can be imaginary sunset colors, just away
Yeah.
from Twilight's colors.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next one?
Sure.
Okie dokie.
That's pony.
Ugh. Oh. Let's go to the Derpy.
Yeah.
Derpy.
Derp.
So this is by Lemon65. This time I decided to draw Derpy as a challenge. Again, pure line work, no base circles for the body, head, and with some more color. It's my first time drawing spread wings, and wings in general, so they aren't the best. Tried a different leg position too. I may lack confidence, but I gotta start somewhere. So as
Very
the comment
true.
said, don't be afraid of drawing head circles in that.
Yeah.
Under sketching is not something you get over as you get better. It's something that is fundamental to drawing always, no matter what skill level you're at. So it shouldn't really be avoided, just to sort of think that you need to get past doing it to improve.
In their comments, they actually say they just don't know how to use them. So I think this is a great time to just... Looks like CPC's doing it. No, just throwing down circles.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
I was drawing legs just fine before you came
I'm
in.
sorry. I was trying to put the levels.
Now,
correctly.
now Derpy's a spider. She has 8 legs.
Just kind of add one in here.
I think I've seen that picture before.
Oh no, your leg is in my leg.
This is the leg mask.
We'll just
The other leg is like hidden back here, but yeah.
one right here should be good.
No.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Here?
If anyone
ruin
watching
Best
hasn't
Pony.
glimpsed it yet, we're very silly here. We're in no way professional.
Let me do this cutie face because it's one that I draw all the time.
But yeah, legs aside,
What?
doing the
Stop drawing
circles,
legs everywhere.
the whole circle thing, it does take a while to grasp, and the way to first do it is to try it. You know, if you don't understand what you're doing, try to do it, and maybe it's good to maybe come into our chat and people can talk to you while you're trying and kind of explain it, because I know it's something that's kind of like feedback. We could send you tutorials, but it's just kind of building the idea. Ow, I just hit my elbow on my desk.
Oh no, desk is beating Ellie up.
No. But it's essentially what it comes down to is using basic shapes to make complex shapes. So using a circle to make a pony head, right? We know what a circle looks like. And then we can add things to that circle to make the rest of the pony head, like adding the ears and where the eyes go and the little snoot. Just building on these little shapes. And that's what essentially using an undersketch is for. You start with basic shapes. Like, we often say that a pony head is a circle and the body is a bean. And we use those basic shapes to build. And it's really just like Lego blocks at that point, except with beans and circles and squares and hexagons and you name it.
I mean, to me, the undersketching is a guide. Like, I do circles, but as you're probably about to see, my head never fit exactly inside that circle. It's basically just something to help me with placement, and that can be as far as it needs to be. Some people build everything off of the undersketching, like, routinely and scientifically, and other people don't, and just use it as a guide, and that's fine. But it's always very important to have one there to help with placement and shape and proportion. What is happening here? I thought it was a cute looking face, but it's like a spider.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is the cutest face I've ever seen.
Everything's perfectly normal.
My computer just reminded me to get to the critique screen. I do have to actually go. My family was nagging me, so I have to hop out.
Oh, sure, no thing.
I'll
No
be
problem.
back in a bit, but I don't know if it'll be before the stream ends or not, so yeah, bye for now.
Bye.
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 I will say I am happy that you tried to do this overlapping thing. You tried to work out, you know, this back hoof, because that's usually a pretty intimidating thing, and it's usually pretty hard to work out at first, is when you're like overlapping limbs, and it's like, ah, crap, how does that work out?
Mm-hmm,
So-
totally. Well, anyone got anything else?
I got nothing.
No, I was just trying to wing.
All right. Then let's move on to the last picture on our list here. We're actually going to do both of these together because they're both from the same artist.
Awesome.
Nice.
So these are by Lexi Sketch, and they're doing a set of evil princess drawings, starting with Daybreaker. This is the first picture they've done on Krita, and they'd like to get some advice before starting Nightmare Moon, which they've already finished. Yeah, so let's go over the pictures here. I don't see any questions laid out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure what they're looking for advice on, so let's just give critique as critique follows.
I have returned.
Oh god.
Welcome back.
I
So-
decided to come back so I brought dinner with me.
So the first thing that jumps out to me right away is that Nightmare Moon is too black.
That's what I was going to. Actually,
Yeah.
well, okay, you say your thing and I'll say my thing.
Okay. My big thing was like it poked out to me, especially when looking at the legs. When I squint and look really close to my screen, I can tell there is a color separation, but it's not great enough for me to tell that the legs aren't just one big blob. So something really to focus on, I'd say, with dark colors. You don't need to have pure black to depict something that's very dark. That really comes down to playing with how you deal with light and shadow and how you lay things out. But it is still really important to have those separations in an image, or else all the anatomy you worked on is just gone. It's lost. You can't really tell. Like even in the wings, I see there's little ruffles for feathers, but you can't really tell. You don't need to lose all that just because you want to keep things dark.
Yeah. I was going to get into the light and shadow bit.
Nice.
How you can have stuff that this is dark, but in order to still see the three-dimensionality of it, you need to have lighter highlights. So, get in and add the specular, essentially, the specular part of it that will define the form. And this brush is maybe not the best brush for me to be using, but
This program
anyways.
is
but that's going to help you because the thing with dark materials, this is just how light. Oh, that's an arm. Okay. How light works with dark materials is dark materials are naturally, no matter what the material it is, even if it's a rough surface or a shiny surface, they're naturally more reflective than light surfaces, and so you are going to have lighter highlights than you would in a comparatively lighter highlights relative to the original color. You're going to have much lighter that kind of stuff. So let me give a bit of a highlight on the lip or something. So anyways, maybe add a little bit to the wings. You don't need much, just enough.
Yes, this alone is really making and helping everything pop and show off the anatomy and everything.
Yeah. Helps to outline everything a bit.
Anyways,
it's the same. It's the same with Daybreak as well. I mean, with really dark bodies, the problem is that you can't add much in the way of shade, but you can add a lot of highlight, and vice versa goes for very light bodies.
So what I was doing in Daybreaker is that because the arms and the armature and everything, they are round, the lightest point isn't going to be at the edge. It's going to be a bit towards the inside, because then it's going to start rotating in. So I was adding a bit of shadow to the corners. Of course, this program hates me, so it's kind of difficult, but that's what I was doing.
My thoughts on Daybreaker. Let's get something like this. Let's see. This whole section looks really good as far as silhouette composition, readability. It's this bottom section that doesn't read as well. I think.
I agree.
I personally, what I would do is I would just block out this fence totally and just cover that up. Some sort of something, I don't know. But, maybe that's a bad color choice because you've got a theme going on. Brown? Nah. Anyways, that was just the thing is, you don't have to cover it up, but what is happening is it was really easy to read her up here, but down here it's I didn't know what was going on until I looked really closely.
I think one of the problems there is that there's no drop shadow, so you don't really know where things stand. So I think putting with a multiply later, just putting a drop shadow on from the fencing on her legs would help.
I think a stronger
and
drop
from
shadow.
the arms on the fence as well.
And it's also the shading is much less. There's much less shading there than in the rest of the picture. Like makes sense that there's more detail on the face, but what color?
Yeah.
Plus, essentially, you've also got this fire, which is a really strong light, and strong light equals strong shadows.
Yeah.
Does this program have a multiply layer?
It does.
No clue.
It has a feature.
Oh, I found it. Oh, I can't rotate. I still haven't figured out how to rotate with this tablet on this program.
Yeah, with these shadows added in, I already feel
Oh no, what did I do?
it's just the being able to tell apart from the fence and the legs. You have a lot of details going on in the legs, but the fences were almost on par with I want to say value wise. Something about it just made them blur together and hard to separate, and having these hard shadows will help the eye separate the two.
Whoop. There we go. Something like that. And yeah, this would depend on. This is all dependent on where the light source is coming from. Light and shadow is a funky sort of topic.
You said it.
In fact, you know what? I would even go in here and take that darker. Yeah, get in and darken that up. So get that good old ambient occlusion going on. Whoa. Something like that. Same within here. Although, I don't know. I kind of really, as a stylistic thing, I really like this kind of almost velvety, non-shaded material. Realistically, it doesn't really hold up in the as an actual material how it would behave, but I kind of really like it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ooh, anatomy, fun stuff. You're doing pretty well as far as anatomy goes. I'm going to talk about the human form, but something that can help is a bit of exaggeration. So get this shoulder and this shoulder and this shoulder, kind of really heighten that. Because if she's putting her weight on this thing, this shoulder is going to go up, and then this one is going to kind of relax. So it's kind of the shoulder line is going to do that, and that's just going to give you a more dynamic, fluid sort of pose that looks like it's got weight. I like these sparks.
Yeah, those little embery things are pretty cool. Very nice.
And one last thing. I know we've been talking a lot. But don't be afraid to, in very sparing, but in certain situations, add a little bit of dark lines to things. Because essentially, like, take for instance the nose right here. I added just some small little things, but it would make sense because the nostrils would be a place where no light would reach, and therefore it would be dark. I'd say same with down. I'm not using a very good color to shade this with, but I think you get the idea. But same, like the boundary between the cloth, it's going to be very, very subtle, but there is going to be a slight amount of darkness. And, same with these folds and wrinkles in the skin, and yeah. Just a little bit will add a little bit of more dimensionality.
Yeah, I think what CPC is doing with the, I can't remember what that's called, like, vignette, is that what it's called? When you got like the blurring around the edges, shadowy around the edges. Looks really nice. Helps frame the sort of light source a bit more.
Oh, are you doing the thing from the season finale? I forget.
What?
Where she's like standing in that darkness column.
Oh, I was thinking because she's to make her pop out more. Sometimes what I do is to have everything dark, so I already have the shading kind, and then
Yeah.
I just remove the.
Apply the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good technique sometimes.
It's a bit difficult because she's so dark already that makes almost no difference in the dark parts. But
Ooh, yeah.
when I first saw it, I thought of just a dark room with her sitting in the middle, very.
And a pale moonlight shines from above. Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Getting that nice pop to it.
Poppity poppity pop.
I don't know.
Okay. I am not doing so good at pale moonlight. Oh.
I blame Drawpile. It's just not a good program for fancy
It's
things.
not.
I finally figured out what I was doing wrong for it to not let me shade. I was using opacity instead of hardness.
Oh,
Ah.
I don't know what that effect would be useful for, but it's very weird. I can't control it at all.
Ooh, wait a minute. Turn
it's
hardness
really
down.
weird. Like it's opacity and stuff in there.
Right. Then we get like these little glowing things. I'm just starting to live out my nighttime moonlight fantasies here.
Well, I guess that is our last image for today. Oh.
It is. No, that's just a screenshot.
Oh.
Apparently
So
I have
dark
to
and
rewatch
evil.
season 5. I don't remember that scene. I guess that was a few seasons back, though.
Ooh, yes. I get excited about rim lights. Rim lighting excites me.
It's my trick for when I do weird shadows, and then all my characters mesh together.
That really
Rim
highlights
lights.
the
They fix everything.
They really do, though. Rim lights give pizzazz to everything.
That's part of why I started shading on top of the lines, because I couldn't do proper rim lighting when I had the lines in the way.
I've tried doing that, like putting the highlights on top of like the very edge of the lines. It's just kind of tricky to do.
Where's my... Here it is. This is the last thing I worked on, and it's like all the characters were meshing together. Oh no, it's a spoiler. Kinda. It's not a spoiler for MLP.
What's it a spoiler for?
It's for Pokemon.
Oh.
New starters. They
But
were all
there's-
meshing together, and they added like colors on the edge.
That's
There's even more
adorable.
cute Pokemon. Who would have ever guessed?
I didn't realize you'd drawn it. I think I saw that one in the tape actually.
Alright, well, it seems as though we don't have any more art, and it looks like we've successfully done this picture. So I think we'll call it an end. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week.
You'd better come
Cool.
back. And tell a
'Cause-
friend.